So I got this little jig here, little 64th ounce, number 8 hook. It was an orange head, like a dark olive body and tail, some silicone legs. And this is one of the reasons that I love tying jigs to fish. This jig has caught well over 50 fish, maybe even over 75. I've been using it 2 or 3 days. And the only thing that's happened to it is the paint is chipped off the head, where I've had to grab it for the ones that have hit it deep. I've had to grab the head with my forceps to get it out. But I mean, if you were trying to use a soft plastic or something, there's no way that a soft plastic is lasting more than 50 fish, probably not even more than 25, especially with all the small bluegills that will just pull, rip legs off of them and all that. Nice, I think it's a hybrid. Looks like it's part bluegill, part green sunfish. Ooh, shook on me and stuck me with his spines. But I love this color is super effective. This that natural dark olive, at least for the water I fish in, it's super effective. You toss it in there and you got a bunch of them hitting at it. There's that snake again, or at least a snake again. Don't know if it's the same one. There's a couple bluegills down there hitting it, but they're all smaller bluegills. Look like they're probably there's a little bass down there. Oop. He's not interested. A lot of little bluegills are hitting it though. See if any of them are willing to come out from under the bridge and take it. There's one following it right now. Not a huge one or anything. We'll flip a cast under there and see. Or just throw a cast right into the bridge. I fished this same area yesterday though, so it's a lot of these fish I caught yesterday. Fished for about an hour here yesterday and I caught a little over 2 dozen. Got 2 7-inchers around that area, but nothing else was very big and impressive or anything. Just a nice number, nice way to get out and spend the day. We're gonna walk down a little bit though. An area like this is where a slingshot cast really comes in handy. You can see how heavily, how dense this is, and I can just flip that right out there and this little guy got it. I didn't see a bigger one come running for it. He looked like the biggest one down there, but got a weird growth on the bottom of him there. Little one. And flip him back. There's more down there, but I didn't really see a bigger one come out to investigate, so we're just going to move down a little farther. You got a spot like this, you can just underhand cast it right out there. There's a bigger fish in there. I didn't see what it was, but I saw it move when I flipped my jig out there. Oh, I see it now. It's a bass. Something's got all the animals worked up over there. There's a rock bass. Saw him scoot in and hammer it. Nice rock bass, not a big one. There we go. Flip him back. We're just gonna keep moving down and checking any openings we find. There's a nice bass right there. Let's see if he'll eat this. I don't think he will. I think it's too small for him, but flip it out there and see what happens. Got away. They're not gonna turn back around and chase something like this, but if you put that right in front of them, they will eat it. Not every time, but I mean that one was a little big for it. But like I was saying, I have a lot of success fishing areas like this because I walk the bank and pick high probability areas to throw my jig, and then I'm fishing a jig that is big enough to entice them and small enough to hook them. You know, you got to find that sweet spot. You're fishing bluegills, you know, a number 10 or a number 8 hook on a jig head, generally like a 64th ounce jig. That's that's kind of the size range you want to be in. That number 10 will let you hook a lot of the smaller fish. You know, if you're in an area where most of your bluegills are small, like 3-4 inchers, you want to go with that smaller jig head. But if you're in an area where you're going to be catching, you know, a lot of green sunfish, a lot of rock bass, stuff like that, that's got a bigger mouth and will hit that bigger jig, I prefer the number 8 hook. This spot was good yesterday. It wasn't all scummed over like that. But you're not going to be able to see it. There's a bass right there. There's 2 out there. That small one I might be able to catch on this. Let's see. We can flip this out there to him and see what happens. We got a bluegill coming in hard and fast. There's that bass that I was telling you we saw down here came in and swiped at this guy. But just picking, you know, high probability area like that, throwing out a bait that is small enough to hook them and big enough to entice them, gives you really good results. Down here and flip this little guy back in the water. Another high probability area. You know, you can see a bunch of branches, vegetation growing right there, a bunch of tree branches down. I mean, there's a bunch of bluegills right there, green sunfish, whatever they are. So I know I've got those fish there, so I'm going to flip out here by this tree branch. As soon as that clump of weeds gets by it, I'm going to flip out there and see if we can pull any out of that. If not, then we do have the fish right here we can target. And if I catch one out there and bring it through, it might spook these ones up close, but it might not. And none of those fish are super impressive. Still fun to catch. Still something to do, but you know, we bring the jig through here searching for the big ones. Looking for those big 7-8 inch bluegills. You know, that size bluegill is big for this area, this water. Had a bite right there, but I don't know if he just grabbed the legs or what, didn't get the hook in him. Just going to fan cast around all this vegetation and all the down tree branches and everything out here. Nice little pumpkin seed. Love pumpkin seeds, love the color on them. These are beautiful fish. See all the turquoise on them, the orange. Beautiful little fish. We didn't see anything really big come out here, so we're gonna keep walking down. That's one of the other big tips I'd like to give people is you got to move. You've got to be willing to move when you bank fish. You know, if you're fishing in a boat, you don't just pick one spot and sit there all day. But for some reason, people fishing from the bank will pull up at a parking lot, get their gear out, and just sit there all day and fish. And, you know, and then they don't catch numbers of fish, and oop. That's the one I wanted. This one looked a little bigger than the rest. That's a green sunfish right there. Got him right in the corner of the mouth. That tough, like super fleshy spot right there. That's a green sunfish though. I have to get the forceps on this one. There, oop. Got back in. This looks like an excellent place to pitch a jig. See all the branches, scum on top of it, gives plenty of hiding spaces for the bluegills. A lot of attention right away. I like to try to keep it away from the smaller ones as much as I can and see if a bigger one will come out and take a look at it. So, I mean, catching 3-inch bluegill is a fine way to kill an afternoon, and it beats sitting in the house all day, but it's not really what we're looking for out here. Got this one. Nice one.